morning, afternoon, and evening. We're back with another tier list today talking about World of Warcraft reputations. Right now, if you didn't know, in World of Warcraft there is a 50% XP and reputation buff, which will allow you to level up your characters insanely fast, but not only leveling them up, but also increase your reputation and your renown with different factions throughout the game. And you can do that all the way from the classic game to the modern yeah, there's been a lot of factions, as we can see here. Appreciate the creator of this tier list. It will be linked in the description down below. Saved me some trouble for sure. Now, this video will only cover classic reputations. Now, I am primarily talking about retail, which is the modern version of World of Warcraft. However, there is still a ton of stuff in that game from the olden days. Some of them have been changed over the years. For example, where are they? The Magrum Clan Centaur and Gelkis Clan Centaur are a lot easier post Cataclysm, so post 2011. But if you do play World of Warcraft Classic, these are available in there, but they are just a little more challenging. So I will address that as we come up on each class on whether or not they are available in WoW Classic as well as Retail WoW, World of Warcraft Dragonflight. However, the buff right now that's up, the 50% buff, does not carry over, I don't believe, to WoW Classic. So if you are playing WoW Classic, just keep that in mind. This is a more general video for you. But if you are playing Retail and you see this video around the time it comes out, this buff will be active until July 11th, 2023, which is when patch 10.1.5 comes out. These are the factions here in the blue that we are going to be covering. Not going to be covering the Horde or Alliance factions in this video. I think those are pretty self-explanatory. If you want the mounts and the tabard for transmog purposes, level them up. You'll probably level them up naturally over time anyway if it's a character you play a lot. I will probably cover them in a future video. Ideally, this is the first of a series of videos. But for right now, these are the factions that we're going to go ahead and cover. Now, if you are looking for something to level first, if you did not play during this time period, or you have a character, especially at crafter, blacksmiths and leather workers especially can really take advantage of some of these factions because they provide a lot of plans that are hidden behind faction reputations. Most of the reputation rewards require honored or revered, but there are a couple that could be gotten at friendly, and there are a couple that require exalted. I will link down below. I made sort of an Excel spreadsheet for this. It honestly did not turn out as good as I wanted it to, but I will include it. It is a live document, bear in mind. But I will just go ahead and include that if anybody wants to take a look. That will list all of the faction rewards, or all of the relevant faction rewards for all of the classic reputations. So go ahead and diving in. Let's start ranking some stuff. What are we? 3 minutes into this video, we'll go ahead and start. Thorium Brotherhood, first of all. Thorium Brotherhood is a faction of Dark Iron Dwarves that can be found in Blackrock Mountain and in the zone surrounding. The primary way to level them up is to turn in materials to, I don't remember the name, but there's a dwarf. That's it. He's in the bar. What is that called? Oh, jeez, this is going wrong already. He's in the bar that's inside of Blackrock Depths. Thorium Brotherhood, though, even though I apparently can't remember names of anything related to it, is an S-tier faction. They have a ton of different recipes that are hidden behind their reputation. Specifically, blacksmiths have, I think, 11 different plans, both for armor and also a lot of weapons that are really cool transmog-wise that do sell on the auction house for not a crazy amount, a couple thousand gold, 10,000 gold in some cases. But it can be nice if you want to add those to your crafting collection. Thorium Brotherhood, I definitely recommend doing while this buff is active because it will save you some money if you are buying those materials to turn in. In World of Warcraft Classic, I believe this faction works the same way. However, it is not as easy to turn in the reputations. I think in WoW Classic, the easiest way to level these guys up is to turn in Dark Iron Residue. Dark Iron Residue drops from Dark Iron Dwarfs in Blackrock Mountains and maybe some of the other instances there, but I believe just primary Blackrock Depths, I believe, is the main one you're going to need for that. So, Thorium Brotherhood, very good faction, very good one to level, especially if you are a blacksmith. They also have recipes for leatherworking, tailoring, and I think there's one for alchemy. I think there might be two for enchanting. None of these factions, as far as I know, have any recipes for engineering, inscription, or jewel crafting. So, talking about professions, we are not talking about those ones. Next up on my list here, we have the Timbermaw hold. So this is in Fellwood, kind of bordering Moonglade and going into Winterspring as well. The Timbermaw Furbolgs that are there, you can level up your reputation with them, which gives you an easy, safe way through those zones if you don't want to fly around them, but also does provide you with some good transmog related recipes. There is also a toy you can get from them. So I would put them at an A tier faction. They are also incredibly easy to farm, both in WoW Classic and in Modern, though it is easier in Modern Retail WoW. To farm them, you just need to kill a bunch of their enemy Furbolgs in the area. You kill a bunch of them, they drop stuff, you turn them in. It's pretty simple. Third thing I will link below, I will link a guide on Wowhead to how to get exalted on all of these factions, because I know me kind of rambling is probably not the easiest thing to follow. It is a little outdated. There is a couple things on there that are incorrect, but for the most part, it does detail how to get 100 exalted factions. So I think it is a fantastic source to take a look at if you are interested in doing that, whether or not the buff I spoke of earlier is still active. Next up, we have the Winterspring trainers, or excuse me, Winter Saber trainers, which are available in Winterspring. Now, this faction does cause a bit of back and forth in the community because it is an alliance-only faction. In Classic, it is very difficult to level up. In Retail, it is very easy to level up. And maxing out your reputation with the Winter Saber trainers will earn you the Winterspring Frost Saber mount. A very, very cool looking tiger mount. One of the best looking tiger mounts in the game, in my opinion. Used to be very, very sought after. I suppose it still is, but it is, like I said, a lot easier to get. Now, if you are Horde, I'm going to go ahead and put them in C tier because that's pretty much the only reward from them, and it's very interesting that this is Alliance only. Horde does have an equivalent mount, but it's not from a reputation. The equivalent mount for Horde is a Raptor you can get in Un'Goro Crater that you have to raise for 20 days. It is essentially the equivalent because if you get the Raptor, you are automatically, if you switch to an Alliance character, your character automatically has the Winter Saber, the Winterspring Frost Saber. So they are vice versa. If you get one, you do get the other if you play for cross faction. Which is interesting that they decided to do that way. I get it. But yeah, so the Winter Saber trainers, they are a reputation that is Alliance only. So if you are going for 100 exalted reputations, that is one extra one that you get on the Alliance side. Next up, we have the Magram Clan Centaur and the Gelkis Clan Centaur. These are from Durotar, or excuse me, not Durotar, Desolace in Kalimdor. So in Desolace, you can pick which of these clans you want to ally yourself with first and go through their quest line and everything. And in Classic, this is a long and arduous process that doesn't really reward much to my knowledge, I don't think. But it is part of the quest line in Desolace and whatnot. Maybe they used to reward more than I'm not sure of. That one I'm a little uncertain of, to be honest. But what I do know is in Retail, they are incredibly easy to get exalted. So if you are going for 100 exalted factions, Magram and Gelkis, basically just leveling through Desolace, you will naturally get both of them to exalted as part of the quest line, which is cool. However, I didn't actually rank this on my phone where I have some notes. I'm going to put them in D tier, though, because it's kind of like pointless. I don't really understand why these are still in the game, other than just a carryover from earlier parts of the game. There isn't really a reason to have these guys in there. I would have loved to see them incorporated in Dragonflight. Maybe, you know, they come with you on the exploration, and then they, you know, are part of a team that makes contact with the centaurs that are in Dragonflight. I don't know. I'd love to see old stuff brought back like that. I doubt we'll kind of ever see anything else with these guys. Unless we get another Kalimdor revamp. But anyway, D tier faction, not a lot to them. Zandalar Tribe and Shendralar. These are currently unable to be attained or completed to Exalted in Retail WoW. So these are going to be WoW Classic only. When Cataclysm happened, the items and characters related to these were removed. I believe there is still one Zandalar Tribe character that you can talk to, but yeah, there's no way to level them up right now. Now, on my main, who I've had since pre-Cata, I do have both of these reputations, but so they're in your book, but they will stay at whatever they're at. So I think I'm friendly with Zandalar right now and neutral with Shendralar, which is unfortunate because I would like both of those to either stay Exalted or not be there, but it is what it is. If you make a newer character, I don't think they have any way to even get these to show up. If you're playing World of Warcraft Classic, both of these are very, very difficult, very, very arduous and grindy to level up. But if you do, that's fantastic for you. There are some, I think, well, you don't really have transmog in the Classic, but there are some role-play type gear and items you can get from it. I'm not sure it'll be better than what you are probably already wearing, but definitely check that out if you are interested, if you are primarily a WoW Classic player and a completionist, and if you are insane. Some of these, I will point out, some of these do contribute to Insane in the Membrane, which is how you get the title Insane. Very, very nice feat of strength achievement there. Timber Mahol also contributes to the Diplomat achievement. So if you want to get the title Diplomat, Timber Mahol and 2 of the factions from Burning Crusade is how you get those. For these 2, I'm going to go ahead and put them in F tier. There's no way to complete them. In fact, let me go ahead and add a row below here. We're going to put unobtainable. You cannot obtain Exalted with them at the moment, so that, at least for retail, and that is the case with those. Now, moving into the Steamwheel Cartel, this includes all 4 reputations of Booty Bay. Booty Bay. What are the other 3 goblin cities? Ratchet and the Barrens. So you have Booty Bay and Stranglethorn, Ratchet in the Barrens. You have Everlook in Winterspring, and what is the last one? Why can I not remember it right now? This is quite embarrassing. Tanarus. You have Gadgetzan in Tanarus. So it's the 4 goblin cities that are neutral. Alliance or Horde can go there, and they are intrinsically linked with the Bloodsail Buccaneers. The Bloodsail Buccaneers, you can get their reputation up by killing Steamwheel Cartel members, and the Cartel, you can get their reputation up by killing Bloodsail Buccaneer members. Now, it is possible to get your Steamwheel reputation up without killing Bloodsail Buccaneers. There's a couple other pirates and groups that you can kill, but the most effective way by far is the Bloodsail Buccaneers. I can tell you that with the current buff active in World of Warcraft Retail, the Bloodsail Buccaneers can be done in about an hour. Now, note for the achievements of Vastgi, Matey, and Insane in the Membrane, you actually do not need Exalted with Bloodsail Buccaneers. In fact, there is no achievement or reason in the game to get Exalted with Bloodsail Buccaneers other than just to have another Exalted reputation. If you get them to honor, that is what you require for all different achievements and relevant things with them. When you get them up to friendly and honored, remember to go talk to their captain, which is off one of the boats in Stranglethorn Vale, and he will give you a couple quests to kill some people, and he will give you a nice hat and some transmog to make you look like a pirate. Steamwheel Cartel does give you a discount in those relevant 4 cities. I'm not sure there's much else other of a reason other to level them up. So yeah, both of these I'm going to go ahead and put in D tier. Steamwheel, we can put that in C tier. I guess that's fine. Bloodsail, they're really a pain to level up. I'm probably, while the buff is up, going to get them to Exalted just because I will never have to do it again. Yeah, and I'm already hated by the Steamwheel Cartel, so I might as well just keep doing that. All right, next up we have the Brood of Nozdormu. The Brood of Nozdormu is the bronze dragons that are in Silithus. So these are the ones related to AQ, the Raid, Ahin Quarry, Temple, and Ruins. Jeez, that was a mouthful. So you get this reputation up by completing quests inside those raids. The quests will ask you to turn in items that drop from the mobs and bosses in the raid, and then you also get some reputation from killing the bosses. And I think some of the mobs, if you're still neutral, I'm not sure. But it is not too difficult to get to Exalted. It will take a couple runs and therefore a couple weeks. However, it's really not that hard. Their rewards are fair. They don't have a quartermaster you can buy stuff from, but from doing the quest you will get your tier 2.5 set, which is class specific, and there is only 9 of them, so the 9 original classes only. In Classic World of Warcraft, I believe these are pretty much the same thing, other than obviously AQ would be current content, so probably a lot more difficult to farm. I'm going to put them in C tier. Also, the Steamwheel Cartel and Bloodsail Buccaneers, to my knowledge, did not change when Cataclysm happened. In WoW Classic, I think they're the same thing. It just might be a little slower to farm them. I'm not sure. They definitely will be slower to kill people from each of them just because of the level squish differences. I think killing the Steamwheel Cartel members primarily will be more difficult because I think the guards are level 60. So depending on which era of Classic you were trying to do that in, if you're playing Wrath Classic, that might be a little easier. Next up, we have the Cenarian Circle. The Cenarian Circle is the second faction I'd put up into the S tier. The Cenarian Circle has a ton of great faction rewards. You level up this faction by questing in Silithus and doing a variety of other things. The Cenarian Circle can be a little confusing because when Wrath happened, a lot of the Cenarian Circle members became the Cenarian Expedition. Or was it Wrath? Or BC? I don't know. One of the expansions changed a lot of the members. So in Classic, there is a way to turn in items to these characters in the Cenarian Circle to get your reputation up. That is not available in retail. However, it was not very difficult for me to level up. Actually, I think there is still some items you can turn in, but I don't think you can turn in as many as you used to be able to. Now, the interesting thing that could be confusing about the Cenarian Circle is there is actually a different vendor for each profession. So there is a vendor for leatherworking, one for blacksmithing, one for tailoring, and one for... I'm not sure what the fourth one is. I think it might be enchanting or alchemy. If it's alchemy, they only have one recipe. I'm not sure. Like I said, I will link that spreadsheet that I used down below. It is a little disorganized, but it does at least have the reputation rewards listed there. Cenarian Circle is especially good if you are a leather worker. You can get 2 different armor sets that you can craft as a leather worker, one leather and one mail, so that is very, very nice. If you are a leather worker, I highly recommend the Cenarian Circle. Just did them on my hunter. The Darkmoon Faire, gonna go ahead and put them in F tier. There is not really a reason to level up the Darkmoon Faire other than to just level up. You do need their reputation max for Insane in the Membrane. There are a lot of rewards that come from Darkmoon Faire, but none of their rewards, to my knowledge, are tied to reputation. And I don't think having them leveled up gives you much of a discount, maybe on, like, game tokens. But that's, you know, not even that much gold anyway. So yeah, I'm not sure there's much of a reason to level up the Darkmoon Faire. If you are doing Darkmoon Faire stuff, especially in retail, you will just naturally get it over time. So for that not really being a reason to get them leveled up, I am going to go ahead and put them in F tier. I suppose you could put Magram and Gelkis there too, but those ones are so easy and they are part of the questline of Desolath that I don't know, it's like 2 free Exalteds. Darkmoon, you do have to go out of your way a little bit because you're not going to be questing and leveling in that area. You do have to be doing the dailies. But if you want the pets or the transmog, you probably are doing them already anyway. In WoW Classic, this is more difficult to get because it's not as easy to raise your reputation, but to my knowledge, it is the same kind of idea. Just do stuff with the Darkmoon Faire. Hydraxian Waterlords, these ones have been obnoxious for me lately. I do not have them exalted yet. To level up the Hydraxian Waterlords, you need to go ahead and do Molten Core. Kill mobs in Molten Core. You get reputation from most of the elite mobs in Molten Core, as well as from every one of the bosses. Once you hit Revered, I think you will only get reputation from a few of the bosses, as opposed to all of the mobs. So it does slow down significantly, and that is very frustrating. The Hydraxian Waterlords, to my knowledge, also have no real reputation buffs or bonuses. It's just kind of, hey, you killed a lot of Ragnaros' fire guys. Congrats. So I'm going to put them in D tier. Not really a point to do them, but if you are running Molten Core for either the legendary weapons or just the transmog, because they never drop. I have ran it like 10 times on my hunter, and I have like 1 piece of tier set. 2, 3, I think, pieces of tier set from that. So if you're running it for transmog, you're probably going to max them out anyway. That is, of course, in retail. In World of Warcraft Classic, similar to the Brood of Norsdomu, Molten Core would be current content, so Hydraxian Waterlords will definitely be more difficult to farm, but if you are running that raid for gear or whatnot, then you will be getting that leveled up as well, I believe. Please let me know as well if I get one of these mixed up. I don't play that much Classic, so if I have made a mistake, like if there's a turn-in for Hydraxian that I'm not aware of, you know, let me know, but I don't think there is. Also, I wish that you would have used the label of, or the image of which expansion these came out in, but I already recognize the amount of work that this took to put this tier list together. Alright, next up we have Ravenholt and Syndicate. Ravenholt and Syndicate are both bands of pirates, thieves, bandits, whatnot. I guess not really pirates, but thieves. Ravenholt has additional quests and things for Rogue, but for the most part, the only way to level up their faction is you can level them up to Honored by killing Syndicate members, and then after that you have to turn in junk lock boxes, I think they're called. which you have to pickpocket from Syndicate members. These can be traded between characters, but they cannot be sold on the auction house. So you would have to advertise and find somebody who has them, and then pay them a small fortune of gold, because they are rather difficult to get, and you will need, I think, like 1,000 of them to level up your Ravenholt X reputation all the way. I will be doing these before the end of the reputation buff for this reason. However, you do need your own rogue, or you do need to talk to somebody who has a rogue to help you out with this. The Syndicate, you can level up their reputation by killing Ravenholt members. However, that does stop at friendly, and it's a very, very slow grind, so it's not really recommended. It is unobtainable to get exalted with Syndicate. And Ravenholt, I would definitely put pretty low down in my tier list here. I would put them down into the F tier just because it's next to pointless to do them. They are required, however, for the Insane in the Membrane achievement, and I believe neither Ravenholt or Syndicate was changed much in Cataclysm, so I think in World of Warcraft Classic these are pretty much the same thing. If you're interested in doing these guys, the Ravenholt Manor that you need to go to is in Hillsbrad Foothills, or Alterac Mountains in Classic, I think, but it's in that kind of area. And then you can kill Syndicate members in Arathi Highlands, next door. Alright, next we have the Argent Crusade. Now the Argent Crusade is a Wrath of the Lich King faction, but I could not find the Argent Dawn. I'm sure somebody can pause this video right now and find it here, but I cannot find the Argent Dawn in here. Now the Argent Dawn was the original faction in Eastern Plaguelands, and then when Wrath of the Lich King happened, most of their characters head to Northrend, and they're changed to the Argent Crusade. So even in Light's Hope Chapel in Eastern Plaguelands, as of Cataclysm, a lot of these characters do still say Argent Crusade. However, there is still a reputation for Argent Dawn. In World of Warcraft Classic, it's pretty difficult to get. There's a lot of things you have to do. You have to run different dungeons, turn in stuff. In Wrath Retail, it is not as difficult to get. You can go ahead and do some quests, and it'll get you pretty high, and then you can run some dungeons, and it's not that difficult to get. As for their rewards, they are decent. Not definitely as good as the top three reputations we have here. Thorium Brotherhood and Cenarion are definitely the best. Timbermoth Hold, I think, is better than Argent Dawn. But Argent Dawn I would put in B tier as far as giving you some different rewards and things. There is also a toy you can buy, which is Priest only. So if you want to do that on a Priest, I'm not sure if you can obtain it on another character and send it to a Priest. I don't think you can. So if you want to do this on a Priest to get that toy, that might be an interesting thing to do. And then finally we have Guild. Guild experience was added in Wrath of the Lich King, in World of Warcraft Cataclysm, and has been changed a lot since. Very simplified today. Guild reputation really bugs me. I think it's kind of pointless. When you first join a guild, you will not be able to access their mobile banking or a couple other things, and then as doing any quest, you get reputation up with your guild, and that's it. Once you are the max reputation with the guild, you have the ability to purchase different rewards and things from the guild vendor. However, largely, I just don't like this system. I liked the old system where guilds could level up and get perks and things. I liked that. However, I understand why they took it away, because it did really hurt people who wanted to play solo or wanted to play just with a couple friends. But yeah, overall, I don't really see a point for there being guild reputation anymore. I'm not sure what the answer to is that, because too much requirement of that does hinder people, but too little, yeah, there's not really a point for it to be in the game now. I put it F tier. Alright, that is going to be the tier list. Obviously, we still have all of these to do in future videos, perhaps, but if you are looking at some of the classic reputations, the neutral ones, here is my tier list for them. Here's what you should focus on if you are a leather worker or blacksmith. Especially, I recommend Thorium Brotherhood and Cenarion Circle. Thank you very much for watching. If you are interested in seeing another World of Warcraft tier list, let me know in the comment section down below, and or like the video. That does let me know that people are enjoying the content. Either way, though, your viewership is very, very much appreciated. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll be back with more tier lists, because this is the guy that makes random tier lists.